It's time to dad.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Time to Dad. That was really weird. I was looking at the wrong video screen and saw a crazy delay. Thought something was jacked up, but it looks good. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, hanging out with us. Hope everybody had a good holiday over the Christmas break there, and a good New Year's. And hope 2025's not been too shitty to anyone so far. Um, let's let's see. We kind of talked about topics. I wanted to talk about a topic that's kind of in the forefront of my mind right now. We've just had we had that big snowstorm. I say big snowstorm. It wasn't terribly crazy, but it came through in the city of Richmond, which is like, I don't know, 15-minute drive from me. I guess a pump at one of their water treatment facilities failed. Um, and apparently, our water out here in the suburbs in Henrico County um, is somehow tied to that. And so they had to do this big fucking ordeal of turning our water sources from them off, and they rerouted a bunch of water. And long story short, people in the city have been without water, I think, going on 2.5, 3 days now. Some people still have some water, but the pressure's all jacked up. Some people are completely out. The water's not potable, so it is potable, but they have to boil it. Um, and so people lost their minds earlier in the week when that happened. And so water in our area in the store started to sell out. Meanwhile, the county told us that they had switched off their system before they went to the reservoir system. So our water was fine. And then at about 4 o'clock today, my mom and my sister started texting, and apparently our county issued a water boil advisory as well, because a water main fucking broke somewhere. Um, and so the other day when the plant was having issues, I bought a case of water, and of course all the crazy mofos were out there pushing carts of like 8 cases of fucking water, man. Like, you're not going to sit there and bathe in a case of water. I get it if you need drinking water, but like, just the hoarding was out of control. And then today I just went to get my mom a case of water. And again, people are just hoarding the fuck out of the water. And it just kind of, it just kind of made me think about basic preparedness. And I'm not talking about you need to go out and prep for the fucking zombie apocalypse and hoard and stockpile everything. Like, if that's your jam, like, have at it. But that's not what I'm saying when I talk about just kind of having the basic necessities around. Um, but yeah, it just kind of made me think and kind of take inventory of what kind of shit we have, because we're expecting temperatures in the teens, and they already lost one water main to the cold. Um, and it's not unheard of to get into that temperature range around here, but it still causes damage, and people just aren't prepared. And so it kind of made me look around and take stock. And we had a shit ton of ice, so people were losing power, and luckily Dominion Energy was really good. Ours was only out for, I think, 4 or 5 hours, and I got the generator out and hooked up and stuff. But yeah, man, it just kind of made me think, like, you never know what the fuck's going to happen. You never expect that all of a sudden the water that you kind of depend on to live is going to be cut off, or you're going to have to go through some, boiling of water to get what your family needs. And even at that, that's still that's an uneasy feeling that you're having to boil the water, because they know there's stuff in it that can harm you, bacteria and whatnot. So even if you're boiling the water, that's still, I'm sure, an uncomfortable feeling for people. So yeah, man, just get some basic damn necessities. Make sure you got food for a couple days. Make sure you got some fresh water around. And I'm not talking about the water that your family's going to drink everywhere. Just put a few things aside, put it in the back of your pantry, and just don't touch it, or rotate it out every time you go to the store so it stays fresh. But I don't know, that I'll get off my soapbox. But yeah, that just made me kind of think about it, because I just saw the panic in people's eyes, man. And when you think about it, it sucks and it's a stressful situation. But the amount of panic I saw and the people just fighting over water and shit was just absolutely ridiculous. So give yourself a little peace of mind, have a little stash on hand of some stuff for things like that and whatnot. and hopefully you can avoid the shit show that ensues when stuff like that happens. And then we also talked about we were talking about the wildfires out there in LA, which is that's another big shit sandwich. I mean, it's in like the heart of. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter. It would be the same if it was in a poverty-stricken area, but there's $1 million homes and famous celebrities losing all their shit and one interesting thing one of the news reporters brought up was like the amount of memorabilia that's being lost in the fire, which I was like, what does that have to fucking do with anything? But he was carrying on about all this memorabilia that some famous person had in their house that they were losing. I was like, yeah, but you're still alive, so it's really doesn't fucking matter. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Maybe grab some stuff, be prepared, have a little something, on hand if some you get dealt a shitty hand and stuff like that. But hey, yeah, you guys want to do a check-in? How's everybody's year going so far? Good holidays, hopefully.
Yeah. Glad the holidays are over. Tired of being broke. um, it was good to see everybody, family and everything like that. Jasper got some interesting gifts. Jokes on everybody else. Jasper did get a drum set. However, it's an electric drum set, so there's a power button.
Nice.
Yeah. So something he'll be able to grow into. Had all of his grandparents telling us, "Oh, we're going to get him a drum set." Most of the thought of them as jokes. They were saying, "Oh, we're going to get him something so he can just avoid the piss out of you." I was like, "Well, then don't make threats. If you're going to do it, do it. Just get him something that he can actually use, not a toy drum set that he'll destroy in a day."
Yeah.
So, yeah, they one of his grandmothers got him an electric drum set, and it does pretty well.
Very cool.
Nice. That's sweet. Yeah, we did. I mean, yeah, we had a pretty good Christmas, I reckon. Emerson really wanted some bluey magnet tile thing from Santa Claus, and it was like $60. And Santa Claus doesn't bring like uber expensive gifts to our house that comes from mom and dad and stuff. So, I mean, we had a pretty good Christmas though. We went up to visit my wife's family in Roanoke after Christmas, and we were there over New Year's Day there, and there was some drama that ensued there, which was fun, but wouldn't be visiting the in-laws without some sort of wacky shit going on. But yeah, other than that, we had a good Christmas, good New Year's, and 2025. Other than this water situation's been okay. How about you, Jason? You look flustered, sir.
No, I was just agreeing with our back. I think we got some background noise. I don't know. We cut this little bit out, but someone's making a racket. That's a little distracting to me. I'm just gonna say that. But I had a funny conversation with some of my friends. The question was posed to what's better, or what would you rather have in like apocalypse? You gotta it's an oh shit moment. You're leaving the house. Would you rather have? And I think it's because of what Elon Musk said about having some World War I knife in his wall or something for hand-to-hand combat. So they were like, well, would you rather have a knife or a gun for survival? You have to choose one. And the reason I bring it up is because I honestly, and it's the God's honest truth with it, I said gun because I'm not going to survive very long and the gun will take me out faster. That's just how I look at it. I just don't see it as a good situation one way or the other. Preparedness is definitely important because, I mean, what are you going to do? You got to protect yourself and your family, but that would be just such a fucked up situation that I'm not sure it would really matter one way or the other. But I guess, yeah, as a species, you want to survive, but has that ever happened other than before civilization? I mean, did you really just need to just fucking grab shit and hoard for the apocalypse. Like that just seems outrageous to me. I don't like how would that even come about? Like what's the scenario?
Well, you got to think about the availability of resources if you're thinking back into you know centuries ago. Resources aren't quite like they are now. However, um, I'm a hoarder, but the funny thing is I don't do it all at once, and I don't wait till the last minute. So, obviously, if you want to stock up on water, that's great. Go to Sam's Club or Costco or whatever is nearby. Um, don't wait until you need it, the day of or whatever have you. Just get you a case or an extra case or two every time you go. If you want to have you 20 cases, that's fine. Just do it over time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't wait till everyone else needs water to buy your 20 cases, please.
and the way I look at it is, so what if people think of you as some kind of doomsday prepper? It's always good to have firearms and ammunition. It's always good to have a backup food supply. I have a lot of MREs. If you're not
I
familiar with
knew
any,
it.
I mean, they're not a sponsor here, but if you're familiar with Fort Patriot Supply, they got
Are
some
those any
decent
good?
things.
I like their
Oh,
ads, and I
absolutely.
know a lot of people that buy that shit just for like camping because it's so easy to make.
Oh man, dude, they'll hook you up with like
I'd hate
they
to
have a
stock up, and then the
yeah,
zombie
they'll hook you up with
apocalypse
like a
comes and it tastes like
solar powered
straight doo doo.
generator. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything tastes great, but if you're
If you
thinking
really
on
need
a
it, yeah,
survival
who
level,
the
is
hell
it
cares? I
really about
guess.
taste?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, there are things that you can do over time. I mean, stock up on batteries if you're worried about flashlights or whatever have you. Have you a generator if you have it? If you have the option to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Grab you some Dearborn heaters. Heck, you were talking about a Mr. Buddy heater. Um, things like that. You don't have to wait till the last minute to do it. It's always good to prepare. Um, and if you got a place to store it, that's even better.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to stocking up on all kinds of stuff. Just to have. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and
Yeah.
not have it.
We get bad during hurricane season. Sometimes we'll have some nasty shit roll through. And one of the things I always see people that I think a lot of people forget about is they're like, cool, I have this generator. But they have no clue what to do with it after they use it. Some of them now have fuel shutoffs. So at least you're not, filling the carb up with old fuel that's just going to rot, but some don't. And so they pull it out when they actually need it. And they're just sitting there yanking and pulling on that thing. And a lot of times it's somebody that has no small engine knowledge whatsoever. So they're not about to take the carb apart and try and clean out the jets and get all that gunk from the ethanol that's just been chilling in it. I try to run mine dry, and if I can't, I drain the tank out of it.
Yeah, and you can do that. If you think you're going to have it set up for 3 to 6 months, you can even get you some Lucas fuel stabilizer.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it to where it doesn't ever go bad, but it definitely adds some life to the fuel so that it doesn't just rot everything in the carbs.
I don't know what it is about the newer carbs, but the seals and the plastic and the rubber grommets they use on those things do not like ethanol.
Yeah, they're cheaply made.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like a chainsaw that's 20 years old that'll start like a champ no matter any situation. But the newer stuff, man, if any fuel gets left in that carb, it turns into like this gooey fucking paste that unless you tear it down and rebuild it or replace it, it's just not gonna run. But yeah, that's another thing I see people not doing is pull out the generator and start it up if you know a bad storm's coming. That's just a little added peace of mind. So when you do need it, you're not sitting there in the pouring rain or dangerous wind and thunder and lightning trying to fighting with the thing to get it running.
I think you could live like our forefathers.
Brad, you're muted, by the way. I think I just saw you.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
You're still muted. Did he get it?
Oh.
Nope.
He moved his mic, but I don't know if that matters.
He's
Yeah.
unmuted in team.
I don't know.
Nah, still muted. Something come unplugged.
Whatever happened to him,
All right.
I
Yeah, go
think
ahead.
is.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
I was just saying, talking about that, I'm in Atlanta and we're getting ready to, in the forecast is 7 to 8 inches of snow,
Mhm.
which, I've lived in Chicago. I've lived kind of all over the place. 7 to 8 inches isn't insignificant, but in Atlanta,
I was going to say down south.
Come on
that
now.
would crush.
that's
Woo.
going to shut us down. So you talk about preparedness and everybody's going out right now, but a lot of people at the same time, they don't know exactly what to get.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't. Snowstorms are like an interesting animal. Like all the bread and milk goes out of here, and I'm like, cool. So you're worried about power outages and not being able to get stuff, but you bought crazy perishable items. You got no way to keep that milk. I mean, you can always stick your milk outside, I guess, if you're in a snowstorm. Keep it cold. Might be a block of ice when you go for a bowl of cereal in the morning, but yeah, I don't understand the mentality of people that go shopping when a snowstorm comes, because all the stuff I think of to buy is like plentiful in the grocery store, but the stuff people are buying that's like sold out, I don't understand it. Like hamburger just flew off the fucking shelves. Like I was just trying to get enough for taco night, and there was nothing. There was like one of those logs of hamburger meat left in the meat section. I just I don't know. Hamburger's not my like stock up for winter storm type food.
Yeah. Do y'all recall back when COVID first started? Well, here in Texas,
Do I?
for some reason, people thought that along with COVID, you were going to get like a mad, crazy case of the shits because you could not find toilet paper anywhere.
Dude, yeah, toilet paper was a hot
They do
commodity.
that for any emergency.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That was a weird one. That's funny that you mentioned it. I didn't get that.
I mean, if y'all experienced it like we did here, people, I mean, it was either they were eating a crap ton of Hot Pockets or they thought COVID was going to be associated with the shits.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we're just inherently selfish. If you think about it as like shit hit the fan, so now everyone's just going to go to the store and you're just going to hoard all the stuff for yourself. Like, all right, I just why wouldn't you at that point? Like, if it really is that bad, aren't you going to kind of have to ration and live in like a little more civil society? I mean, that's really the only way you would survive. And I know what you're saying. I'm saying we wouldn't. Like, I don't think people nowadays would. I think they're just inherently fucking selfish, and they would just they hoard fucking toilet paper or whatever else. And
let me tell you what I think added to the chaos today. At least is so we have Ring cameras where we use the neighborhood like it's an app, but it's also like obviously the online tool. And then we obviously have a neighborhood Facebook group. And as soon as the county put out the boil water advisory, everybody starts posting about it, and everybody's like, "Oh, this place is out of water. This place is out of water," which further added to the fucking panic because people are like, "Shit, where am I going to get water? I got to go get water, and I don't know when I'm going to get it again. So I'm just going to buy as much as I can when I find it." And I think social media plays a role in that. It played a role in the confusing as fuck situation because our county issued the advisory, but then the local news station on their Facebook was saying the water was tested and it was fine, but forgot to leave out that this happened days ago and it had nothing to do with the current advisory. And it just became this shit show of misinformation and people freaking each other out. It just goes to show you what social media can do.
Well, talking about social media, did any of y'all see the post from Mark Zuckerberg saying, "Oh, we're going to stop doing independent fact checkers and leave community boards, everything else"? I'm like, Well, firstly, I don't know. I don't understand why the censorship was there to begin with, because I don't know about. I can't speak for everybody else on Facebook, but I, I'm not one of those people that, oh, just because you saw it on Facebook means it's true.
So you know what they're doing? They're using AI to censor posts.
Well, I mean,
So
they've been doing that.
They may have gotten rid of the fact checkers, which biasly, or at least what I observed, they were biasly tagging things as false. But now they're using AI. Like I was in, we're in a 12-foot skeleton group for the 12-foot skeleton we had. And this lady was like, all I did was post about someone on here who posted something for sale and I got scammed. Like, why did my post get declined? And one of the group admins got on and they were like, it wasn't us. And they sent them a screenshot of why Facebook, not the admins of the group, but Facebook shut their post down. And what Facebook said, they had the word upset in the post. And what Facebook called out as the material they were putting the kibosh on was UPS. And they said that word plus, what the fuck was the other word? There was another really stupid word that Facebook AI flagged. And it said, typically posts with these words are, I forget what it said, but it said something like they're derogatory or go against Facebook standards. They didn't, literally all the lady was saying, hey, is it cool if I post this scammer's information because I lost my money and I'm pretty upset and I want other people to be aware. And Facebook AI flagged the post because,
the algorithm.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, cool, you're getting rid of fact checkers, but now you're using a technology that's not capable of
distinguishing a difference.
Yes, yeah. As where a human would have been like, okay, like use AI to flag it, but a human needs to review it because a human would have been like, oh, they didn't even say UPS, they said upset, and it's got the same letters in it. I don't know. It's just fucking annoying. Facebook in general pisses me off. So I try not to fuck around on it too much, but I just
brought up Facebook Guilty. Because you mentioned the news station going on social media.
Yeah.
A lot of misinformation. That's what made me think of that. It's like, all that aside is like, why would you go online and see something and then just automatically assume that that's 100% facts?
Well, I think we can all agree that obviously things that come off Facebook might not be 100% facts, but everything that comes off TikTok, I take as truth. So
you make my head hurt.
Wait a minute. I don't even use TikTok. My wife sends me TikToks. I'm like, I don't know why you bother sending me. I won't even fucking open it.
I hate that I do use it, but man, I'll scroll through TikTok. But yeah, it's wild out there on TikTok.
I don't want those commies having my data.
They already have it. Yeah, man. They'll just have more of your data if you use TikTok.
If we're like, so you mentioned the doom scrolling. I have I'd like to talk about that.
Okay.
What is that? Like, I mean, I understand.
It's
no.
like
I know what it is. Yes,
yeah.
I know. Yes. I'm saying.
I don't know what it is.
It's like a person. So it's an addiction to your phone where you get on Facebook and they design the app that way, but you scroll through it. And to me, and it becomes like you're addicted to it and you have to like do that, or you like, so that's how you zone out. You no longer can zone out without your phone. And, it causes me a lot of issues because you will do it without consciously knowing, which is really the fucked up thing, at least what I'm starting to realize, which is like a true addiction. But is it like, you talk about AI, it's like, are we like becoming something closer to a computer ourselves? Because like we're addicted to the images flashing by, which is processing the images like a computer would. You ever think about that?
It's the Facebook algorithm is very crunchy, and what I mean by that is when you first, maybe this is my personal experience on Facebook, but when I first get into Facebook and I mean, I don't scroll like people's posts. Like, I really don't care about what Tom, Dick, and Harry are doing down the street. Like, if I see something a friend posts about their family or something, I'll check out the post, but I'm not like scrolling through like just posts. I usually go to like the videos and stuff and watch shit on there. But when I first like get on Facebook, open the app, and I go to the videos, it's a very wide variety of like video types based on the things that I typically like to watch. But God forbid I stop and watch a whole fucking video on like some bass fishing tips. The algorithm snaps so hard to fishing that like the next 10 videos are going to be fishing. And you have to close the app and come back in, and the algorithm will reset itself. And so then I can get back to looking at shit about like, it'll be woodworking, it'll be fishing, it'll be hunting, it'll be cars. But if you stay on one post too long, Facebook snaps and it's like, okay, every video I'm going to show this guy for the rest of the time he's scrolling is going to be all automotive or whatever video you are watching. And it used to not be like that, but that's where the doom scrolling comes in, because you watch one video and you're like, okay, I could do some more fishing videos. And the next video is a fishing video, and the next video. And I don't know exactly how the algorithm works. I know there's a lot of people that have figured it out and get really fucking pissed off if like their wife gets on their phone and starts looking at Martha Stewart shit on Facebook, because that really fucks with the algorithm. But it's gotten kind of annoying, and I'm kind of with Jason. My wife's been giving me mad shit because she'll be having a legit conversation with me, talking for 5 fucking minutes, thinks I'm listening, and I don't say shit. And then she's like, all right, cool, great conversation. And then I stop what I'm doing and I'm like, what? And she's like, I literally was just talking to you for like 5 fucking minutes. And I was like, I didn't hear a damn thing you said. It's a problem, dude. And I try to put my phone down. You know, I try to make a conscious effort to put it down. But I mean, when the kid's in bed and she's scrolling, doing whatever, and I'm scrolling, doing like that, you just kind of get into this funky zone of doing it.
So with all of this said, each and everybody, acknowledges that it's a problem. Even for us, we're grown ass adults, and are willing to admit that. I think that would be fair to say that's exactly why you should keep your children as far away from social media as humanly possible for as long as you can. Oh, no
shit. Well, think about it. So not to be stereotypical, but let's say you're a teenage girl and you're scrolling through and you start looking at all these fitness videos, and then the algorithm is like, oh, well, if fitness videos, now let's morph it into eating disorders. So then this girl keeps scrolling. It's just eating disorder, or, lose weight diets. And it can really, I mean, I think adults can shake stuff like that off and realize that it's just being fed to them through the algorithm. But I don't know that teenagers or even younger kids that have phones and Facebook and shit are capable of recognizing that they're being manipulated, so to speak. Well, not so to speak. I mean, they are.
Don't know they're being manipulated.
Yeah.
Well, that's
scary.
It cuts both ways, though, right? Because so you're being manipulated towards something that you fed into the algorithm, and then it's trying to keep you, locked in.
Well, not necessarily. I mean,
right.
The algorithm's kind of got free will to hang a sharp right when you think you're on the straight and narrow, and you don't realize sometimes that you're kind of getting off track from what the original topic you were, scrolling.
That's kind of what.
Oh, it's even worse with those targeted ads.
Well,
but that's what I'm saying. I mean, so you're allowing it to lead you to something, and then at the same point, and I'm truthfully, I'm not gonna, obviously the algorithm of myself in and around like election time, like I was checking results of the, political things, whatever, to see who was going to win. And no fault. I mean, I can't blame Elon Musk. He had a significant reason to want to manipulate people via his own social media thing. But it took a lot of effort on my part to say, no, I don't want to see this, to right, extreme right wing, like fake and real, and however you want to, like, whatever, like extreme right wing stuff. They're
Yeah.
just like feeding me to the point where I had to like start ignoring it and just like get back to fucking sports and stuff that I actually go on Twitter for. Like that's really what I use
Yeah.
it for. Like Schefter stuff, like trying to see like if players are hurt in fantasy. Like I mean, I use different apps for different reasons, but I don't really use Twitter for political things necessarily, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think that if they can lead you in a certain direction, they can certainly show you whatever they want, and they're gonna because it benefits them. So we're all kind of controlled in a way by it, for sure.
Well, I mean, that all. I would say that whole thing of people realizing the power of the internet and manipulation really started with like the beginning of COVID. And I think it started with people using stock footage from fucking hospitals to make people believe that, you know, the hospital is just overrun with dead bodies. And I mean, you saw the footage of it had to be wartime footage somewhere of where they're putting the bodies in the freezer trucks and shit. Like nowhere reported that number of casualties. But if you're just on the internet, man, and you were already on the brink of freaking the fuck out, you buy into that shit. It's same thing happens with political stuff. Same thing happens with, you know, the LGBTQ type stuff, natural disease. Yeah, all that. Like next thing you know, Hawaii fires are being started by laser beams and shit, and only the blue areas were saved, and it's just like it. I mean, it's wild, man, and the human mind is a very unique thing, but it does. I don't think it takes that much to lead people astray. It's wild.
Definitely not.
But to add to your point, Jason, is yes, the computer is our brains are like a supercomputer. You know, I mean, and much like, I mean, think about it. I mean,
The supercomputer is like our brains.
Well, yeah. I mean, computers are programmable. You know, so that all these algorithms that you see, I mean, that's how grown ass adults get suckered into sitting there with their phones in front of the faces for hours and hours and hours. That's how shopping addiction, you know, online shopping addiction start, is they go to look for something and then all those targeted ads show up. I mean, that's again, we can all acknowledge that. That's why, you know, it's, if, you know, as dads, if any of us have the ability to keep our children off of the internet altogether, you'd be doing them a favor.
Tried it and
yeah,
and succeeded about like 90% of the way, man.
That up to a certain age. I mean, my kids are young. I have that luxury. I certainly want to do that. But like, so I mean, it's trivia. It's kind of funny, like when you think about it, but it actually has caused behavioral issues. But like my son, Russell, he'll do fucked up shit, like push his brother or knock something over, not want to, like, you know, and my wife will be like, why did you do that? And his new thing, which we still, like, we really don't know where he got that, but he's like, because I'm the bad guy. Like he saw something I mean, even Disney movies have villains. So like to him, he conceptualized like bad guy, good guy. And it's like, he was just playing a character or something, and he was the bad guy. And my wife's coming at me like, what are you letting him watch? It's not age appropriate that he's saying that. And I'm like, I don't know. Like how could you even trace back good guy, bad guy? I'm not sure. So it's, I mean, you can only keep them from, you can't keep them from being exposed to the mass information imagery thing that is like covering us like a fucking blanket.
I thought I was unmuted, but I was muted. I was like, why is Jason talking over me?
Sorry.
No, I was muted.
I did it to Brad when he was
because I just tried to talk over you and I couldn't hear myself. I was like, what the fuck? No, I was when JT finished talking, I was like, you were talking about keeping your kids off the stuff, man, and we tried it, and we pushed fucking hard, and that's with our daughter who's now 19. And the only thing I can tell you is it is fucking hard as hell. Your child will just be so upset with you and just full of anger over the fact that you limit their screen time, or you want a parent app to be able to monitor what kind of things they're doing on their phone or what they're doing on the internet. And part of the reason that all started was because of the group of kids she was hanging out with were questionable to begin with. But then it kind of turned into those kids kind of got her into some shit on the internet that we didn't really agree with. And it is probably the toughest thing I have done as a parent was trying to protect her from the shit on the internet. It's not fun. It's really fucking hard. You're going to be judged by other parents who just give their kids technology and phones and shit just to keep them occupied so they don't have to deal with it. You're going to be judged. Your kid's going to be judged by the other kids at school because these kids are too fucking ignorant to realize that the reason your kid has a older phone or you have certain apps like Safari turned off and any apps they download, you have to see and approve. Kids are going to judge them, and it sucks for them. It sucks for you, but I wouldn't take back what we did. We eased her into a phone, and when she did something stupid, she got the phone taken away. And the scariest fucking part is, when she'd get her phone taken away, kids from school would give her like an old fucking burner phone they had. And so we had access to her Facebook and her email, and we'd see emails coming from weird shit. And I saw weird devices connecting to our Wi-Fi at home, and I'm like, what the fuck? And that's when we found, like, a kid gave her an old tablet at one point to use. Another kid gave her an old iPhone at one point to use. It's tough and it sucks and it's hard. But I support any parent that's willing to go through that struggle and deal with the pains of it. Because you can see what it's doing to grown ass adults. And any adult knows that a younger person's mind is much more moldable than an adult's, right? A lot of adults, we're set in our ways. We have our morals, our ethics, our beliefs. But kids and teenagers, man, they're very impressionable. And I just, any parent, I just caution you when you just give your kid a open device to roam around the World Wide Web on their own without any kind of supervision at all. It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so my oldest is 7, and like that's already started a little bit, and we have let them have iPads with restrictions and things like that. But they've got friends at school that are talking about what YouTubers they watch and all sorts of different things that out there. So even in 2nd grade, these kids are picking up on things. And while we put restrictions out there for our 7-year-old, there are a lot of other people out there that, I can't even imagine, like what you're saying, at 19 or through the teenage years. But even in 2nd grade, there is pressure on children to, watch certain YouTubes or whatever else is out there.
Schools nowadays even make it difficult for a parent to want to keep their child, as far as technology, they, keep it mitigated. Schools are even making it difficult. Nowadays, schools are sending kids home with laptops or tablets and shit. I am not opposed to heavy ass books in the book bag and, spiral notebooks.
Yeah,
but now
they just
everything's
don't
done
do it
on a computer.
Yeah, I don't even know that they have special accommodations anymore if you request it for like physical copies of textbooks and shit. I don't know that they have that. But what was it? It wasn't back to school night. It was like the first check-in with our son's kindergarten teacher. And I don't remember if somebody asked the question about the classroom iPads or whatever. And she was like, yeah, we have them, but I limit it. She was like, we don't do a lot on them. Which I fully support, especially at that age. But we called the police because our daughter was on some chat app, and she's got at this point she was 16 or 17, but some dude sending her pictures of his dick print in boxers and shit. No clue who the guy is. He just met her in this chat app and was talking to him. And, we called the police or whatever. And because he knew her age, and the police are like, we really can't do anything, which was half expected. I mean, they don't know where the guy lives, and they aren't going to investigate that. Let's be real. But yeah, there's just scary shit out there, man. And I will take the heartburn and the frustration and anxiety and all the bullshit that comes along with keeping your kids safe on the internet, over the alternative of just giving them free reign.
I have no idea what I'm going to do. My kids are so young, and I just want to keep them exactly where they are. Other than the fact that he's going to be 3 this
It's
weekend.
hard, man. You just teach them.
Yeah,
we're going through it with Emerson, and right, Emerson just turned 6, so way different than dealing with it with a teenager. But we try to teach Emerson because there's some shows he likes to watch. It's an older guy that does goofy shit. I can't think of his name, but they've got some funny stuff, and he just likes the funny stuff that they do. Like they build an entire house out of Legos and then destroy it, which is hilarious to him. They filled the whole house with the little plastic balls, like ball pit balls. Funny. I don't mind him watching stuff like that, but then he'll go to an episode where they're just doing ridiculously unsafe shit or just something that's absolutely stupid as hell. And so when we hear that, we explain to him why we're not going to watch that episode anymore, in hopes that he will at some point start recognizing shit like that on his own. But I think that's all you can do with a kid at that age. And it's easier to monitor a kid at that age, right? You can set, the age limits on their apps and stuff, and
doesn't
kind
that
of
just
protect them. But there's a caveat to that because
makes them want to watch it more. He just took it away.
It does, but there's been tons of shit found in kids' episodes. There's been episodes of stuff released where one of the YouTube people was telling them to push their friends into the street. Right? Like, not a good idea. Don't push kids into the street. But this YouTuber was telling kids in the middle of the episode that it was a fun game to push your friends into the street. And a parent overheard it, rewound the episode, recorded it, and put it all over fucking social media. And that's the kind of shit that can still get, fly by the parent radar even. Because I don't know any parent that sits there and watches everything that their kid's watching.
Yeah. There were some that made it through on YouTube Kids, like specifically because y'all know how there's regular YouTube and they have YouTube Kids. There was a video that had made it onto the YouTube Kids, where 2 dudes were sitting. I'm assuming 2 dudes were in the bed, laying in a bed together and playing a game of what do you feel in your ass? Like what is it that I'm putting in your ass? That made it to YouTube Kids. I was like, I mean, you can set a lot of filters and but there's always going to be somebody
stuff still gets
with
through.
bad intent that is able to slip that stuff through the cracks. So.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody's watched the documentary on Netflix about the guy who was in charge of Nickelodeon and all the different sexual innuendos that he would work into the different kid shows. And you watch it as an adult and you're just like, Jesus, and it's like, it's so bad and so obvious, but to us as kids, like, I don't know if, we certainly probably didn't catch on to it, but at the same point, we kind of did subconsciously, and it kind of robbed us of that younger, more primitive, innocent. Exactly. Thank you for finding the word that I couldn't find, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely, and you can't get that back. But I definitely feel like I was forced into kind of a sexualized culture. I think the 90s were big with that. I mean, whether Baywatch, I mean, you could be so much more like blatant with womanizing and like, you know, tits hanging out and like nobody really making a fuss about um you know, being indecent with women and not treating them fairly and just having them like be something that you look at. But at the same point, like, yeah, I mean, as a kid, why was that forced on me? Was it kind of just dropped in the wrong places by like sick fucking people that didn't have to do that? I mean, we're just kids.
Well, I do have a question, and that this is relevant to Nickelodeon. Did y'all ever notice they had a very weird obsession with tidy whities? Like most, like especially back in the '90s, like Rocco's Modern Life and all that shit. There was just like they always brought that shit into it.
Cartoons were a different animal back then. Fucking Ren and Stimpy was the same way.
Yeah. It's like they had a thing about tidy whities.
But that's all there was. That's all there was. So, I mean, that was just. I mean, now there's millions of different things your kids could watch. It's, you know, there's not just Nickelodeon was the channel, right?
And most of it still sucks. I'm telling, like, you watch this crap, like my nephews, they all have like the YouTube Kids and the super, and it's like it's blasting in the back seat. We took him with my kids to like a dinosaur thing down in Connecticut or whatever, and it's like you can just hear it, and like we have to keep telling them like turn it down, and it is just the most like annoying shit, and you don't even know what is actually. I mean, you can kind of guess what you're seeing on the screen, but like just the dumb shit that the people are saying and the lack of creativity in the writing is just like absurd. And then if it's something they made themselves, I mean, obviously that's a little bit different, which is kind of a weird thing. Like, or if they're watching like a content creator kid or whatever, but yeah, it's just trash. It really is. Like, it's so hard to find someone who can make. You've got millions of shows, millions of things out there that you can listen to, like and subscribe to, like this show, but and a lot of it still is just garbage. That's the one consistent
Kids eat it
thing.
up though, man.
Oh God, it's terrible.
So what's the one kid show? The one kid show. Most of us have small kids here. What's the one kid show? No matter how innocent you may think it is, what's the one show that you will not tolerate your kid to watch?
Blippi.
I can see that.
Bro, I saw Blippi had a model car, and he was adding oil to the radiator, and I was like, I'm done. I'm out. No more fucking Blippi. Just every episode would just stupid. And like to a kid, it doesn't fucking matter. But to me, it drove me fucking nuts. I was like, and just his like mannerisms and shit. I was like, nope, we're not doing Blippi in this house.
Me, it's Coco Melon. Nope,
Coco.
not having that
shit.
shit.
I love some Coco Melon.
Fucking all they do is
Coco Melon.
sing. All they do is sing. There's no like ways.
That's why kids love it.
Speech.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I know, but I want a kid to have be able to pick up ways of speaking. Speech and
Dora the Explorer is your jam.
Educational shit, but Coco Melon, all it is just obnoxious.
Yeah, our son grew out of Coco Melon pretty quick. Luckily,
I've never watched. I've never let Jasper watch Coco.
Yeah, it is just straight music though, and half the music's like the exact fucking same. It's just like a slightly different key.
Yeah,
I don't know. We took a road trip to upstate New York, which is where my dad's side of the family is. I think it's about an 8-hour drive, and it was a really long trip, like longest road trip Emerson had been on. It was just me, him, and my mom. So I just kind of gave him the tablet with games, and I don't remember the fucking game he was playing on his little Fire tablet. But the entire 8 hours, that game had like the background music of the game was like 30 seconds long. So every 30 seconds, it would just fucking repeat for 8 hours. And we got back home, and my mom and I were like, caught ourselves like singing the little fucking jingle in the back. It was god awful. Do not recommend.
My wife hated Coco Melon, and she brought it up to me, and I couldn't like unsee it. But it is like it kind of messes with like cerebrally for a little kid. Like it almost feels like it would cause a seizure or something. Like there's too much going on.
There's a lot.
Yeah, so that I for that reason we never really showed him that.
That's why kids like it though, because there's just constant shit. There's music which kids love. They can dance. That's
he
that's
liked
why
it.
they like
He
it.
liked it, but my wife was not having it. We switched
Yeah.
over to
Well,
Miss Rachel.
What's your go-to then?
I've been trying, and they get mad. Like, so his favorite show right now is Mickey Roadster Racers. I mean, I don't know. He really seems to enjoy that because he likes cars. I mean, that's what he's into.
Is that the one with the hot dog song at the beginning?
I think so.
I think that's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. Roadster Racers, I mean, it's just different way. Like they just find a way to like race their cars. It's kind of cool for the fact that, I mean, he's into it. And I mean, it's not the worst thing he could be watching. And there's usually like a story to it. Like, this one, was mean to this one during the race. And then like they had to teach him a lesson out of it. And then like they both, they sprinted to the finish, but they had kind of found like some resolution. I don't know. It's not the worst show out there, but, go-to is probably that because he likes it, but Miss Rachel gets put on a lot in my house for sure.
So
Emerson, go ahead.
It's funny with us. I mean, we've got 3 kids, so 7, 5, and the youngest is about to be 2. The 7 and the 5-year-old, they watched Cocomelon, all of those things, but obviously they grew out of it. And the things that they watch now are obviously like there's nothing in them. But the 2-year-old quickly, just because of her older sisters, kind of bypassed Cocomelon, which I appreciate because I hated Cocomelon. So she skipped right past Cocomelon, and now she's just hanging out watching the same stuff that the 5 and the 7-year-old are, which again isn't a problem because we're watching the things that they have or that they're watching. So I'm not opposed to the things that are in there. But yeah, she just skipped right past the normal 2-year-old stuff and went right to the 5-year-old things.
Nice. I don't know. Emerson, I mean, he watched a little Bluey. He loved some Cocomelon. He on YouTube, he found there's a person that does they own hamsters and they make all these crazy little like hamster mazes and things for the hamster. And for whatever reason, man, he could be throwing the worst goddamn temper tantrum you have ever seen. And if you put that shit on, he'd calm right the fuck down. And he'd giggle and he thought it was absolutely hilarious. But there's the problem with that is like what JT was saying, whether it's not, helping your kid learn how to speak or sound out. There was nothing educational about it. It was simply like brain mush stuff for him to watch. But he loved the little hamsters and he loved anything animal related. It didn't matter what it was. If it was a little video of goats running around in a field or we own a rabbit, so if it was rabbit videos, he loved those. But I don't know, he's kind of all over the place, but Bluey's his jam now. He wants everything Bluey and wants to watch Bluey.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll say Jasper. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I just wanted to say, and so the satiation thing, like when you're just giving them the show to keep them calm or calm them down or whatever. I've noticed that. So Russell's thing is he's got like a completely locked up tablet that he like has kids games and things that he can only a few things he can use on it, but he will do anything for that tablet. Like we're working on going to the bathroom and it's like I was at my wit's end. I'm like, all right, if you sit on the potty, like I'll give you the tablet. So and then he's right on it. Like he will scream and yell and not want to sit on the toilet, but if we need to do something, if I got to take a shower and I just really don't want him to like hit his brother or do whatever, you give him that tablet, like he's zoned, like he's completely locked into it. So you do kind of use it as you kind of weaponize it at that point. It's like, but I don't, it's not good, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta keep them at bay. I mean, you got to give them something to get things done, you know, as an adult. I don't know.
What I would have got if I acted like that. That's how because we didn't have tablets when I was growing up, so it was like, you know,
Oh man, we had
you
Atari.
you get to act a fool, and you don't want to do what you're told, then you caught an asshole. So
Well, I got some of
and
that, but
yeah,
I resented my dad a lot for that. Like he's like the slapping me in the back of the head because I didn't want to do my homework type stuff, and then like I always flinched like later in life, and I kind of like, you know, I love my dad, but it was like it's like, why'd you have to do that? Like I'm not like, I probably could have been better at sports. I'm fucking like jumpy now or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but I think like I don't think fear. I don't think fear is the only way. I'm sure it's a way to get a kid to act the way you want, but I don't know. Maybe I'd rather try to like positive reinforce or get them to trust me, but they're gonna test the fuck out of you no matter what. It's a battle. So I mean, whatever the method is, but I definitely will never hit them because it fucked me up. Like, and my dad didn't beat me. Like, he just would smack me on the back of the head for doing stupid shit. But you know. And I'm sure it taught me to not do stupid shit, but it also kind of made
Don't
me
do stupid shit.
it made me kind of resent my dad and fear as opposed to trust, in terms of like I didn't listen to what he was saying because I trusted him. I listened to him because I was scared of him. It's a different thing there.
I
see.
I think if you are teaching your kid not to fear you, but to fear the consequence of doing something stupid, I think that's if you can effectively do that without having to beat the shit out of your kid, then obviously that's great. But you know, I I don't want my kid to like me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not Jasper's friend. I want Jasper to know that first and foremost. So I mean, if we're talking about discipline and everything like that, but I was just kind of using that as in reference to you saying, you know, the tablet and everything like that. But I'll say one of my wife's favorite tricks is I've noticed my son has a disturbing liking for anything to do with like hardcore Mexican culture, like the movie Coco. He fucking loves it. Uh, Encanto and
Yeah.
another one called Book of Life. Though, and it's freakish, like because we'll put on Toy Story and everything else, and he'll watch it and everything like that, and then he'll kind of wander off and play.
It's the
But
music, man.
if any one of those three movies are playing, he zones out. He'll sit there watching just under the TV, just like this the whole time.
I think it's the music and it's the accent, right? Unless you have a lot of, you know, Mexican culture in your family, you don't hear it a lot. So when it comes on a movie or a show, it's interesting and different to them. Same thing with the music. Like a lot of the I don't know, American Disney movies are like, it's very traditional style, like almost like symphonic music. So hearing like the music, like the Mexican style musics and their culture is way different. So I think that kind of like captures them because our kids were the same way with those.
But it's disturbing, and me and my wife, we have a joke. You know, I would tell her, I'm like, I blame Sancho. You know, so if anybody's heard the joke, you know, whenever, you know, so military man, you know, they always say Jody's at home taking care of your lady. Well, here in Texas, we say Sancho. You know, you got Sancho at home taking care of your lady. So I always joke around with my wife and say, "Damn it, I blame Sancho for this." You know. And I say, well, damn shit, he should go ahead and pay some child support, you know, just cracking jokes and everything. But Jasper loves those movies. It's disturbing. And I think over the past month, each one of those three movies, Coco, Encanto, and Book of Life, have been played about 50 times in the past month.
Nice.
You know, Toy Story doesn't get enough shit for not having any black toys. I agree with you.
Cancel it.
I didn't think of Toy Story as like the toys are white, but I think you're right. I think there's something to that. Like they're not Mexican, they're not black. Those toys are fucking white. Like I think Toy Story should get like canceled for
Toys.
I don't know. You brought up Toy Story.
Final thoughts, and then I'm wrapping us up. Anyone?
I'll just say on that same point of, watching what your kids are doing. Obviously, technology is going to be a part of their lives in ways that we didn't even have, right? So culturally, it's going to change things for better or worse. I think that things, are given up, but it's just going to be how things are in the future. So building a relationship, a healthy relationship with your kids and technology, I think is really what's been important to us. We don't want to completely restrict them. Obviously, the same thing y'all are saying, you're not going to just cut your kids off from technology. But if you can build a healthy relationship with the technology and teach them that, it's a great tool. Having a tablet, having that kind of technology is something you didn't have growing up. So teach them the right way to do it. Obviously, it's going to be, there's stuff out there, but when I was 14 or 15, we sent kids dumpster diving in the borders to find nudie magazines. So it was just harder for us than it is for 14 or 15-year-olds now.
Yeah. No, I agree. Technology is just going to be huge in the next few generations' lives. So you gotta figure out how to cope with it and coexist with it. It's going to be a bitch, and that's what it is. But thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hope you found this episode interesting. Come out, hang out with us on the Facebook group, like and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Don't be a bitch. Later.